Peter, thank you so much for talking to me today. I know it's been a busy weekend with the British Minibikes. How are you, and how have you found the weekend?
Yeah, it's been really good, thank you very much. It's we've had 7 bikes on the grid from Ohvale UK side with some rentals, so we've got some hire bikes that we can hire out. So we had 3 160s out this weekend and 4 190s, and great to see the FIM Moto Mini classes been real big grids, 12 in the 190s, 23 in the 160s, and overall the whole weekend with all the fab classes as well as the British mini bike classes, it's been a really, really good weekend.
It's really special for these riders to get this experience coming into international event and getting the chance to ride in front of a crowd that might not be able to pull in otherwise. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later on though. The first thing I want to start with is people might be like, why are you speaking to Hickman at the junior GP? Like, that's really random. It's because you actually inherited Ohvale UK at the start of this year. How did you come to take over it?
Almost, you're almost right.
Or what?
I inherited British Minibikes.
Ah, that's the one, yeah.
Ohvale UK is already mine, so I set up Ohvale UK at the end of 2019, ready for the 2020 season. We've always ran at British Minibikes from 2020 onwards, initially with the 110cc class. We've then introduced the 160 class when the Moto Mini, as it's now called, came around with FIM and Dorna. We now have the 190 class as well, so we've got a real range all the way through the classes. B&B was having a little bit of a problem earlier in the year, so I ended up taking it on. So I now own the British Minibikes Championship. Obviously this weekend predominantly has been fab racing, but it's been with B&B as well. So we've done it as a collaboration this weekend to try and get as many riders on the grid as possible, and to make it here as part of the Junior British GP, which is absolutely fantastic.
Talk about you bringing on your Ohvale UK and the Minibikes, to Fab Racing too, collaborating with them. It's the first time you've done it in the history of both championships, so it's really special to kind of try and merge them together because they offer very similar things to different riders. Is a collaboration with them something you're hoping to do more of in the future?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this weekend's been a really a great success, to be quite honest. It's been really good. I think a lot of people are now realising what we could do if we actually use all our resources together to try and put on a proper show and a proper big championship. And the thing is, we're only a small little country in Britain, so it's not the biggest of places, so there's not enough riders to have lots of different championships and to be in different areas at the same time and clashing on weekends as what's happened in the past. And fortunately this year it hasn't gone like that, which is better, which was even, to be honest, out of my control because I inherited what was already planned for this year. But definitely for the future, it needs to stay that way. And I think the more that myself and Rob from Fab Racing can actually work together to try and put a better championship for kids on, kids and adults actually, to be fair, then it's the way forward, 100%.
So what is the oldest rider you had here this weekend or in your championship?
This weekend would be 16, is about the oldest you can go, yeah. In our normal championships for B&B, we can go up to 70. You can pretty much as old as you want.
Bikes?
Yeah, you can race these little bikes or pit bikes as well, so a proper supermoto style bike. When I race actually, so I race one of these GP2 Ohvales, and I race against 12-year-olds. Which I normally get beaten by them. But I was too old to race this weekend. I'd have loved to actually have ridden this track. We went karting actually last night, me and my staff here from Ohvale UK, which Harry always saw himself as the fastest car, but as we found out last night, is not. Hey mate. But yeah, no, it's the circuit itself is actually really, really good. It's pretty safe as racing can be. ACU have had a real good hand in making the event work this weekend as well. Put some rectocell barriers up in certain places that were a little bit too close, and it's worked really, really well.
Because this event kind of came up quite suddenly. You had your normal championships, because obviously for the British Minibikes it actually counts towards a championship. For Fab it was just kind of like a extra if you can come along and do it if you're free. So it came up quite quickly on a few people and might have caught people up by surprise. So how did you work to kind of get the safety of the kart circuit up to the standards and make sure it was a safe and fun event for all the riders?
To be honest, Rob from Fab's done the majority of the legwork. Between us, obviously with the British Minibikes and the Moto Mini FIM classes that I have, they are part of the Dorna global project for the Road to MotoGP, and it was them that really wanted us to be here. and I pushed that we needed to also include other classes, and we wanted to bring mini motos, and we wanted to bring metro kits, and we wanted to bring all these other things as well, and obviously Fab run all that. We do run some at B&B, don't get me wrong, but they have the majority, so it made sense to try and bring the two together, plus like what we've spoken about already with everyone's always been like this over the last few years, which I completely disagree with, and Rob does as well, so fingers crossed this is the start of something really great for British riders and teams and parents to have something proper for the future.
Yeah, it'd be great if this is the start of something, a new era, I guess, of junior racing in the UK, because it's so important to try and promote these riders to get up to standards. Like everyone is always encouraged to go out to Spain. Why can't we do it here? This kind of thing. So hopefully this is the next step for that. It's really interesting you mentioned about Dorna and the Road to MotoGP trying to get you involved in this weekend. And I said earlier about how special it was that riders get the opportunity to do this, because a few years ago you couldn't, and people who've gone through to Talent Cup and upwards and into the more senior classes didn't get the chance to do it. How important was it to put on an event like this at Silverstone, and how much will it actually mean to these riders?
Oh, super, super important. And Dorna were here actually earlier. Most people probably wouldn't have known, but I know who's who. They were actually having a good wander around the whole paddock and actually watched the first races earlier on this morning, which was great to see. They seem to be really happy with how everything's gone. They brought the top three from the 160 FIM and the 190 FIM on Thursday when we were first here. They took them over into the MotoGP pit lane. They got to meet Scott Ogden, went through his garage, had a look at his bike, sat on his bike even. So yeah, they're really trying to help and encourage the riders to be have a little bit of specialness, let's call it, to get them into where the MotoGP paddock is. It's absolutely fantastic.
That's so lovely. And Scott, for a lot of these riders, will be like a benchmark to get to. So to have that time with him would be really, really special. I said, a lot of people, this is such a unique event, and when you were doing junior racing, this was probably very different. How has it changed? How has it changed since you were kind of riding around these little?
I mean, there was nothing like this when I was a kid. The mini motos, that was it. There was lots of different classes of mini motos, but there was nothing any bigger than a normal mini moto. So yeah, all of this is very, very new and very different to what I had as an opportunity, and that's why I'm really invested into it. That's why I set up Ohvale UK. That's why we've got these bikes here. You know, the thing with the Ohvale class is that everything's got a sealed engine. It's only us that can build the engine, so people can't then go cheating. It just doesn't work. There's most of the things that come on the bike as standard. That's what you have to use for the race. Which basically means it's not the person with the biggest wallet that wins over a championship, it's the rider that wins, and that's the whole ethos behind the Ohvale project, and what I've tried to push, or am pushing since 2020 in the UK, and we've had some great riders come right through from the 110 championship. In fact, if you look now at the Moto 4 British Championship, 40% of the riders on the grid have come from Ohvale UK. Which is quite a nice little thing, and I know there's lots of other riders in other classes as well that have been in Moto 4, what was British Talent Cup, and then moved on to sport bike and super sport, and you know there's a few riders out there that have come from this Ohvale project in the UK, which is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's so cool. That stat is that's mega, and it's so great to see so much being done to support junior racing in this country. Exactly, and it is such a big effort. Like I say, people are still having to go abroad to get those experiences, and there is still a fair way to go. I think you'd agree. It's fair to say, to get junior racing in this country up to the standard of overseas, especially in places like Spain and Italy. In your opinion, what do you think that next step will be to kind of get it to that next level?
Financial support. It's what it needs. You know, I mean, racing's expensive. We all know that. But the more we can be, the more corporate that we can get to a degree. We don't want to lose the whole grassroots side of it, because that's what it is. You know, we don't want it to have to. You don't have to turn up here in a motorhome. You don't have to turn up in anything fancy. We want you to be able to turn up in a van and go racing. That's the whole idea of it. But at the same time, we need to try and attract some corporate sponsors to help this junior paddock get to where it needs to be. And without the sponsors, even this weekend, you know, Cavara projects have helped out loads. There's Queens Ferry Moto Routes have helped out a lot. Grassroots themselves have done quite a bit, and even You know, Sharon, who's put out the prize money. I mean, there was prize money this weekend, which is fantastic. But without that financial backing that Fab really has sorted out for this weekend, like the riders would have been paying through the nose just to enter. As it turned out, it's a 2-day event. It was 120 quid each to enter. It's not massive money. It's not huge money at all. You know, to come to this, like a fantastic facility like this that was over 20 million to build, to hire it for a weekend is super expensive, particularly on MotoGP weekends. So the fact that all of them companies have managed to chuck some money towards it to make this weekend happen is a really big step forwards, and that's the sort of thing that we need for the future to try and make this championship as good as it can be, and to give our riders the best possible opportunity to head forwards and get some proper rides on the world stage. Definitely.
Yourself, Fab, all the sponsors, Sharon, God bless her, she's contributed a lot, and it's amazing to see all the support that's coming in to support junior racing in this country. So thank you for everything you've done, and obviously everyone else, but they're not here for me to thank them personally. The last thing I want to talk to you about is nothing, well, it's still to do with junior racing, I suppose, in a way, but moving away from this country. A lot of people probably know that you have stopped racing in BSB for this year. You and DT aren't in it anymore. You've been focusing more on your European adventures with your world sport bike team with Harrison and Fenton. How have you been enjoying that? Because that's a completely new experience for you as well, completely new championship. How is it going out there?
Yeah, really good. I mean, it's from a PHR side, so it's not 810, so they're two separate things. So me and Davey own 810, 50-50. And the 810 racing team is still continuing. I think a lot of people seem to think it's
a lot of people
it's stopping just because we stopped BSB. They think that the team's actually disbanding. It's not. We've just stopped BSB. Simple as that. So we're still going to go away and do all the races we want to go and do. The World Sport Bike project is a PHR project, so that's mine. I've ran a British sport bike team for the last 2 years. First of all with Richard Cooper, where we won the championship in 2024. 2025 we took on Harrison Desoy, who was a really young rider, only 19 years of age at the time, and he ended up finishing about 5th or 6th in the championship.
He could have won that. He broke his foot, didn't he?
If he'd not broken his leg, he very well could have won the race. Could have won the championship, but because World Championship decided to run sport bike in Worlds for 2026, we felt it was a good, if we were ever going to go World Championship racing, which was never part of the plan at all, but if we were ever going to do it, this year was the year to do it, because we had 2 years worth of experience on that Triumph Daytona 660 which we're running, and nobody else had that sort of experience. So for us, I kind of stuck my neck out a little bit. Bought a lot of infrastructure. We've got an articulated lorry. We've got all sorts of kit now that trips around Europe. And we've got Harrison Desoy and we've got Fenton Seabright, two young, bright, talented British riders. We've pretty much got an entire British team. We've got one Dutch mechanic who's a fantastic guy as well, in Daniel. And he's actually the oldest, ignore me, he's the oldest person in the team at 25 years of age. So Leon, who's the truck driver, the bike builder, and the team manager and the crew chief for Harrison, he's 21. A lot of the mechanics are 21. Brad, who's here this weekend with the Ohvale UK, is 21 years of age. So we've got a really, really young team. And the idea is that if you look around the paddock, not just the riders, but also the mechanics, there's not many of the younger guys and girls in the paddock. So I'm really trying to push youth in the World Championship stage as well. So it's going really, really well so far. They've both had, Harrison's had a podium at Aragon, Fenton's had 2 podiums now, one at Aragon, one at Misano, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And to be honest, I never really expected to even be on a podium this year with the team. So the fact that Fenton's 9th in the championship, Harrison's about 12th, I think is already a mega achievement. It's a big step to go from a British Championship to the World Championship. But the boys are doing a really, really good job. And who knows what the future brings? You know, I've got an idea of what I want to do with PHR. We've got Ohvale UK already. We've got British Minibikes at the minute. I don't have a British team. That's not to say we won't never have a British team. It's something that I would like to put in place because I need a stepping stone, or I'd like a stepping stone all the way to World Championship. That's the overall plan that I've got in my head.
I was lucky to speak to Harrison last year when I think it was at his test with you, and the next day he put on some fresh tyres and he was the quickest. So I was like, okay, this kid's very, very quick.
He's got some talent.
Yeah, and obviously I saw Fenton all of last year too in BSB. And Leon was part of that championship winning team in 24, was he not?
He was.
So he was do the
19.
maths. Yeah, at 19 you've won a British Championship.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And Leon's dad, did he mechanic for you as well?
So he's our team manager for 810 Racing.
So it's all connected.
It's all connected one way or
Family
another,
game.
yeah.
Not well, they're by blood, but it's a big effort for everyone. And we've loved watching PHR on the world stage. Well, I have. Me and my dad sit there with our little hats on, and we love it. So yeah, proud of everything you're doing. Thank you for everything you're doing with these guys, obviously out on the world stage too, and best luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.